Have you ever wondered which sport is at the brink of human capabilities or which sport has pushed the limits of human performance? Today, we're diving deep into the data to uncover which sport has maxed out their human potential. Before this video starts, all of the graphs I made are white, so I'm going to change the screen to white so we can look at them. I'll give you a second to turn down your brightness and such. Alright, let's continue. To determine which sport is closest to its ceiling or peak human performance, we need to identify the sports where the level of competition is highest and where most of the potential athlete pool is already participating at the highest level. First, let's look at the data of each of the sports at the Olympics. The first column is the sport, followed by the number of athletes participating in the Paris 2024 Olympics, followed by a conservative estimate of athletes competing in the sport worldwide, in the millions. That is followed by the estimated global revenue of 2024 for each of the sports in the billions. Of course, there are no metrics for these two columns, but after considerable research, these were the estimates I was able to find. Some of you may be asking, why are you including global revenue? Take a look at this video. This is professional NFL player Tyreek Hill versus the fastest runners in the world when he was in high school. This video is used a lot to explain just how good NFL athletes are, but I would say this video shows that the best athletes in the world compete in sports with the most money. They play where the money is. That is why global revenue is so important. So let's use this data to refine our search for the greatest world record. This scatter plot is the number of athletes participating versus the number of actively competing athletes. We're looking for sports where the number of athletes participating in the Olympics is a significant proportion of the total number of actively competing athletes worldwide. This would indicate a very high level of competition. In this case, we have football at the top followed by basketball right below it. In this next example, we have a scatter plot that shows the number of athletes participating versus the global revenue. We are looking for sports with high revenue and a high number of Olympic athletes. High revenue can indicate a well-developed sport with substantial investment in training and development. We can push athletes closer to their peak performance. Once again, this reflects football and basketball. If some of you are forward thinkers, you might have thought that we can't quantify athletic ceilings in team sports like football or basketball. The ceiling for those sports is just a field or court filled with freak athletes. Well, if we look at this scatter plot where we compare the number of actively competing athletes versus global revenue, we can see that some other sports are trending upward. This shows a competitive talent pool with significant investment and world record times we can actually track. Here is a normalized comparison of athletes participating, actively competing, and revenue. Sports that have high normalized values across all three metrics indicate a well-rounded and competitive sport. From this, we can see sports like athletics, aquatics, golf, and tennis do have the best relationship with the total athletes and revenue. We can also see the sheer number of events at the Olympics for aquatics and athletics. Based on this heat map of our data, it's fair to say that the global revenue is closely correlated with competing athletes worldwide. So in short, more money equals more people. I know some of you are thinking that I just created my own answer to a question I created, and yes, I kind of did. But the point is that we have a more refined field to go into our next round of analysis. Our finalist sports will be football, basketball, tennis, golf, athletics, and aquatics. As a quick intermission, you may have been wondering about the ratio of athletes participating in the Olympics to actively competing athletes, aka what are potentially the easiest sports to get into the Olympics population-wise, which I would say is sailing and rowing. Your chances still aren't great though. Now let's dive deeper into the performance analysis of our finalist sports. We'll start by comparing swimming and track world records. Both athletics track and aquatic swimming have well-documented records and clear metrics for measuring peak performance. My goal in my code was to measure how much a sport's world records have plateaued, meaning how close the sport is to reaching its performance ceiling. It checks two things: the time since the last record and the closeness score, which is how close previous records are to the current best record. I calculate a score and then combine the score to rank how much each sport has plateaued. My code uses a weighted average of the time since the last record and the closeness score to give a final ranking, and of course I plotted them for your viewing pleasure. So what are my findings? Well, in athletics, these are the top 5 events, with number 1 having a combined score of 0.96 being the women's discus world record holder Gabrielle Reinsch, who set the world record record in 1988 throwing the discus 76.8 meters or 251 feet and 11.5 inches. But just how impressive is this world record? Well, for the American viewers, that is closing on the length of an entire NFL football stadium. And in the Paris Olympics this year, the gold medalist Valerie Allman of the USA only threw 69.5 meters. That's about 7 meters or 23 feet behind the current world record. If some of you recognize the date 1988, you recognize that this period was marked by widespread use of performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, particularly in the Eastern Bloc countries. Today, it is much harder to use PEDs with the advances of drug testing. The question is, will humans ever reach that level of muscle mass, power output, and coordination naturally? In time, maybe, but if you look at the top 5 events again, you'll see that they all come from this time, which makes sense, which make these some of the hardest world records to beat in athletics. Now let's go to aquatics, particularly swimming. Let's look at the top 5 for swimming, with the number 1 spot belonging to Zhang Lin of his 800-meter freestyle performance in 2009. If you are attentive watchers, you've noticed the swimming records also come from the same period. This is because supersuits were allowed up until 2009. These tech suits were made of polyurethane and neoprene, which significantly enhanced performance. In 2010, the material and overall body coverage of the suit was banned. But good news for swimming is that these world records won't last long as modern athletes are getting closer and closer to these times. For this record in particular, the gold medalist this year in Paris was about 6 seconds behind. When I combine the lists, the first swimming event doesn't appear on the list until number 13. So in my eyes, it's safe to say that women's discus world record is one of the greatest world records in the world. But let's bring it back around and consider the skill-based sports like football, basketball, tennis, and golf. In these sports, peak performance isn't just about physical ability, it's about executing skills under pressure, adapting quickly, and maintaining mental resilience. So I cannot measure these sports, but I think it's safe to say that all of these sports are operating at a high level of competition and will continue to do so until everyone competing is literally a genetic freak running around the field. Alright, so that's it. That was a much longer video than what you guys are used to, so let me know your thoughts. Whether you want to roast my code or thought process, let me know in the comments, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Please, this video took me so long.